get down inside of yourself and you start to ask yourself the questions, what kind of values do I have? What kind of things do I want to achieve? What kind of things do I want to go through? And how do I want to grow? And sometimes we got to look in the mirror at our own vibration, okay? We got to put ourselves in a place where the mentality starts to open up, right? The ability inside of you, the ability for you to be who you are and to shine in the light, it's got to be for you. It really does. It's got to be for who you are inside. It's got to be for the place and the things that you want to go through. And as you're doing that, as you're putting yourself in that place, the world around you starts to shine. It starts to send the things that are meant to be positive in your life, but you got to be searching out for them in a positive direction. You got to start by vibrating in a positive mentality. And you got to see that what you do on a daily basis matters, that you matter. And I'm talking to each individual. I'm talking to the person going through challenges today that they don't know if it's possible for them too. And I've taken some time aside to rest. I've taken some time aside to sit down and to do some meditation and to start to really get down with the challenges inside. And it's with that kind of vibration that we start to get there. It's when we start to put our mentality in such a way that we utilize it. Guys, what are you focused into? Ask yourselves that question. What are you putting yourself to do on a daily? How are you getting through your challenges, And how are you putting yourself on a place where your mentality starts to open up? Where the actual ability inside of yourself starts to create a reflection outwards that you create a vibration through being yourself. And it's amazing when we start to realize that the only thing that we need is ourselves. That when we look inside of who we are, the people around us start benefiting from our mentalities. And we start to see that who we want to become is Christ-like, my friends. It's a mentality to where you see the riches just the simplicity that they are. You start to see the mentality inside, and you start to want to see how blessed you actually are just to be yourselves. I mean, I'm looking at what I want to achieve. I'm looking at what I want to do, and I'm looking at a path in front that is in such a great way, and I'm enjoying it. Today is my birthday, February 19th, 1986. Today I'm 35 years old, and I thank God for the ability to be here, because you have no idea how many times could have been my last day, how many times I could have been in places and in harm's way, and God kept me safe. And I know that, if there's two things in life that I truly matter about, self-love comes number 2 to God. So when we're learning how to humble ourselves in such a way that we see the beauty inside of ourselves, that's when the value inside starts to build. It's when we just want to care about people just to genuinely care about them. You know, and a lot of people get caught up in self-interest. They get caught up in things that really don't matter. Like, how do we start to find a way to uplift other people? By being who you are, by focusing to that point where you use what you have inside. And I'm looking at this place that I'm in right now, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for, this day that I'm going through, and I'm embracing those challenges. And I'm focusing to the point where I'm utilizing that as a place of growth, my friends. When you give yourself the time for you, it's such a blessing. Like, sometimes we don't take that time aside. We don't take that place to give ourselves the ability to not just uplift other people, but yourself. And I'm on that page, my friends. I'm seeing mental clarity. I'm seeing that, you know, I'm grateful for all those people that are leaving comments for my birthday, on the podcast, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, subscribing, leaving comments. I'm grateful for you all because we're building a community here. We're building an ability to overcome challenges here, an ability to focus through the things that we go through on a daily basis, and the mentality that we have inside. And it's when we allow ourselves to see the joy that we have inside of who we are. Okay? You already are beautiful for yourself. It's when you believe that the universe starts to unlock. When you fight this universe, when you fight the mere fact that beautiful things happen on their own time and beautiful things happen in their own way, you're fighting yourself. You gotta recognize the cycles that you go through, and you gotta allow yourself to have them. You gotta allow yourself space for you sometimes, and that you can overcome your challenges when you believe in yourself. And I'm sitting here looking at all the work that I've been doing and that I've been working on and that I've been working through. And I'm recognizing that it's beautiful. Okay? I'm recognizing that the challenges that I'm facing off against today are absolutely uplifting. And they're meant to bring you to a place where what you're looking for, it already exists inside of yourself. And it sometimes takes people saying, hey, you need a little bit of rest. You need a little bit of space for yourself. When have you given yourself attention? When have you put yourself on a page where what we're going through is actually a part of who you are, my friends. When you start to give yourself the time to grow inside it, when you start to give yourself the ability to open up, where you start to give yourself the ability to have the mentality inside of who you are. And so, um, it's slow. You got to be patient. You got to give yourself that space. You got to give yourself that ability to start to ask yourself those kind of questions that you want to achieve and you want to dream through. And I'm telling you, when you put focus first, when you put it in a place where you utilize your energy, okay? Where you utilize your being, that it doesn't just uplift other people, it's meant to bring you through your challenges. It's meant to bring you to a place where mental clarity lays. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the mere fact that what we want to focus into, we can achieve. I'm okay with the mere fact that you might be going through something that only you can. You know, each of us starts asking ourselves those type of questions to where we need to focus to the point to achieve them. You know, we need to focus to the point where we overcome them. And it's when we start to do that inside of ourselves, that's when the focus starts to happen. It's when you start to utilize your gifts. It's when you start to have other people see you as motivation. It's not when you're thinking in a certain way and you're not letting the universe work through you. It's when you focus in a certain way because you see that's best interest in everybody, inside of yourselves, inside of your being. And when you start to create that kind of vibration, amazing things start to happen. You start to study yourselves. You start to see the beauty that you have inside. You start to see the mentality. And it starts to become a focus. It starts to become such a way that instead of just trying to be enabled, it is enabled. And it takes that kind of a place inside of who we are to find ourselves, to find our beings, to find that what we're facing off against might be a little bit difficult. But I'm telling you, if you put yourself in a place where you focus to the point, then that's what you get to keep is the point itself. And it's when we start to open up to that point where the growth starts to happen. It's when we start to open up to that point where the mentality starts to shine through. Where the actual ability inside of who we are starts to radiate outwards. And I'm looking at how I can make it through my own challenges, and I'm sharing it with you so you can too. I want you to believe that what challenges you're going through, you can overcome. I want you to know that you're not the only ones who face off against challenges. We all do. So if you're going through something today and you're facing off against some kind of challenges, if you're starting to see that these things might be a little bit difficult for you today, this message might be for you. It just might be that when we focus to that point, we start to put ourselves in a place where we start to open up and we start to see the blessings coming out of who we are. And when we focus to that point where we use that level inside of ourselves, the universe reacts to that. It starts to allow things that are positive in your life, not just trying to be positive in somebody else's life, but to come and attract themselves towards you. And to recognize that, my friends, takes a little bit of humbleness. It takes a little bit of mentality. And when you want to be uplifted, uplift yourself first. Uplift yourself when you have great potential, when you have greatness within you. It's when humbleness opens up that that level of focus radiates outwards. When humbleness opens up, the light inside of you starts to shine. When you focus to the point where you utilize what you have inside, where you utilize who you are, where you utilize your mentality, where you utilize your foundation. And it's got to happen that way. One way or another, it's going to happen that way. It's going to be when you start to see it for yourself, when you start to believe it inside of yourself, when you start to recognize that the only one that's going to uplift you is you, that when other people see you and they benefit from you, that is what it's about. It's about seeing that kind of beauty inside of yourself and spending time on yourself. And I always want to go after and I always want to tackle the amazing. I want to chase after the things that go beyond challenges. And the first challenge we got to face off against is right there inside of you. It's inside of each of us. Each person has got a journey. We got a path. We got a purpose. And when somebody joins your purpose, when somebody joins your path, allow them to express themselves the way that they want to. Because when they're coming your way, they're seeking out enjoyment. And they're seeking out the ability inside of themselves to light up. And when we give ourselves that place to be who we are, we find that all parts inside of ourselves are a beautiful thing. But it's got to come from within you. It's got to come from within your ability. It's got to come from within your mentality. And it's got to come from a part of yourself that's humble. And I'm recognizing that. I'm recognizing that to be great is to be humble, my friends. To be great is to overcome. It's to be in such a way that you become a king. And it it's inside of ourselves that we overcome those challenges. And when it's when we start to recognize that we grow. It's when we start to recognize that we overcome. And we have to find a way inside of ourselves to believe in who we are. And that the people that come in our lives are blessings. That when we focus to the point where we start to shine, that what we're going through, in fact, helps us to become who we are today, who you are inside of your challenges. And it's when we light up to that level where when people are coming around us, they're seeing who we are inside because we're growing to that point where we find that the person that we are inside of ourselves, that who we are inside is beautiful. And the mentality that we utilize on a daily basis opens up that ability inside of who we are. When we focus to the point where we use what we have inside of ourselves, it gives us the perspective that possibly there might be just going on a little bit more than just what's going on outside. It might be what's going on inside that matters. And when we see that for ourselves, then the beauty starts to shine. And when we focus to that point where we invest our energy into places of positivity, that it opens us up inside. And when we're facing off against challenges and stresses and things that we want to overcome, we've got to find that place inside of who we are where we believe in ourselves. We believe in our abilities. We believe in our mentalities. And so, how do we start to recognize that? How do we start to put ourselves in a place where we truly go within? You know, when we use our mentality in such a way that what we're going through no longer has the ability to affect us, it really goes to what's going on inside. And it really has to deal with what you truly want to light up in this world as. And when people start to see you, no matter what challenges you're going through, as beautiful, when they start to want to support you for yourself, then the ability for you to overcome your own challenges become that much easier. It's not when they fight with you. It's not when they try to break your hearts that you grow. It's when they support you. It's when they embrace you inside of yourself to the point where you start to have self-love, where you have to start to have self-ability, where you start to have self-awareness and self-mentality. And so I've really enjoyed spending time by myself because it puts into perspective how simple it is to just be ourselves, to actually be who we are inside. And inside of our mentality, inside of our knowledge inside, we light up. And when we get on there and we shine for others to see, it's what we got inside that shines. And it's what we're going through that we face off against challenges with. And I'm telling you guys that you can achieve dreams, but you gotta want them for yourself. When you want them for somebody else, when you want to do them for somebody else, they don't become possible. And so the people that I'm looking to have in my life, that I'm looking to achieve and overcome challenges, that want to be on this team, we uplift each other. We focus on ways to overcome challenges with a mentality of understanding and recognizing that what we go through is a blessing. When we start to understand that we can't be stopped by pains, by fears, or by emotions, it goes down to what you have inside. It goes down to that's where the human being opens up. That's where the human being gains purpose, it gains value when we achieve the beauty that we have inside of ourselves. It's not when other people are judging us. It's not when other people are telling you it's not possible. It's when you believe things become possible. That they become possible. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it with complete clarity. And when we start to achieve that part of ourselves, we start to gain that kind of knowledge, that kind of student inside starts to open up. It starts to light up. It starts to see the light inside. It starts to see the purpose inside. It starts to see that the path and the journey that we have inside is worth it. And how do we start to get there? How do we start to overcome challenges and become who we are inside? And that's where we grow. When we give ourselves that kind of permission, we start to find that kind of joy inside of ourselves. We start to find that kind of place inside of who we are. Then we start making changes in the world for others to be lit up. Then we start to light up inside of ourselves, and we start to become a light in this universe. And how do we start to do so? You know, when people hear this message, it might relate to them, it might not relate to them. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is that you start to believe in yourself. What really matters is that you start to see your path, your purpose, your journey. That you want to be who you are on the inside. So it isn't some award that someone's got to achieve. It isn't some pedestal that you got to be put on. It's when when we learn from ourselves, when we learn from other people, when we grow, we liberate ourselves. We free ourselves within. And when you focus and you use the knowledge that you have inside, when you apply that in such a way that you see the beauty that you have inside of yourself, that it opens you up to a certain level of clarity, that you can overcome challenges when you believe in yourself, when you believe in your being, when your focus and your knowledge is connected at a level that we start to understand ourselves. We start to understand our being. We start to understand our purpose. And we start to understand our journey. When you start to do that, we start to get there, we start to open up to that level, then the light inside starts to become. It starts to see that what we might go through, we can grow. That what we're focusing on might be worth it. That the challenges that you want to go through, you can. And it's important for us to see it for ourselves. It's important for us to achieve it within ourselves. It's important for us to recognize that when we believe in ourselves and we let people that only uplift us come close to us, that you grow. And I'm recognizing the simplicity of that. I'm recognizing that it isn't when you're perfect that people find the beauty inside of you. It's when they see you imperfect and they find the beauty inside of you. And I'm praying that this will be a wonderful birthday, that I can enjoy the time even if it is by myself, which I do hope it's not, that I can see that beauty radiate outwards. And I'm happy. You know why I'm happy? Because we live in a beautiful world. There's a lot of beautiful people out there. And I just happen to know I'm one of them. And I'm happy that, focus and knowledge and that we can apply things in positive ways. Sometimes when you look from a different angle, through a different lens, you start to recognize that you might have been just a little bit hard on the people who might want to be the closest to you. And at a certain level, you got to decide what's positive in your life. You know? I'm seeing through a clear lens that simply understanding yourself, gaining a clarity of positivity, that knowledge and focus centers itself within who you are. That the person that we are inside is beautiful. Okay? And that the people that are going to want to be around you, they're not seeking you out for judgment. They're seeking you out for the beauty you got inside of who you are. They're seeking you out for the open hearts that you have, the understanding that you have inside of yourself to overcome challenges that